Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, my question goes to the human rights presenter. And the question is, do we have human rights limitations? I'm asking this question because when you go to Europe, we go to America, they frown on polygamy. But they actively involve in LGBTQ and the rest. Which when you come to Africa, we also frown against that. But they are still trying to impose this on Africans. That is the reason I'm asking if there is no discrimination in human rights. So you have to answer that. Because there are limitations. Other than that, they wouldn't impose LGBT on us. Whilst they frown on polygamy over there. So what is good for the goose is also good for the gander, as we said. Mr. Speaker, I also want to touch on the access to justice, as you mentioned. My brother who just spoke very well on this issue. The cost to seek justice in our sub-region is one of the issues. What is the status of our court system? When you go to our court system, there is a lot of corruption.
God bless you.
So, in the face of corruption, where do we seek human rights, or where would the position of human rights stand? I have my right to go to court, but because I don't have the means to access justice, then what becomes of the human rights that you're preaching about? We could have the best and robust legal framework, but when we have poor judicial system, then we are doomed. So we should tackle our judicial systems properly before we talk about human rights. Otherwise, we'll be dancing around it. You go to court, you are due for a process, then you'll be denied because you don't have the means, you don't have the capacity. So our judicial court system within the sub-region should be highly looked at in the face of corruption. So corruption should be your watchdog. You should be preaching about corruption against some of this more than the human rights. Mr. Speaker, my brother who also spoke on the socio-political instability and conflict in the Horn of Africa, I think my brother Dabo said it all. It is not a new thing to do what's in West Africa. All the mishappenings, all what is going on within the Horn of Africa is also happening right in the West Africa. Wars, trafficking, human trafficking and the rest, they are all happening right here. If the war between Russia...
I want to tell you that this honorable Usa in Komo in county, when I know the country Usa this man Komo, I want to tell you that say a Komo from Ghana. Now this honorable who they talk so. Now they come on. Wanna continue for listening.
And Ukraine had economic impacts on those of us here in Africa. Then definitely those who are much closer to us also have the impacts of what is happening in the Horn of Africa will definitely have impacts on us here. So it's an undeniable fact that you rightly mentioned. But what do we do as a sub-region? what do we do? It is right happening down there. It is affecting us here. What do we do? We need to forge ahead and make sure that ECOWAS Commission, that's I've been saying, ECOWAS Commission, I have a lot to do when it comes to these happenings within the sub-region. Not until I got here for this session, I didn't even know exactly what is happening in other countries when it comes to constructions and other things. As ECOWAS members of parliament, we must be visiting those areas to look at exactly what is happening there. Like my brother, if he had not come to ECOWAS parliament here today, he only knew there was ECOWAS in Liberia when there was a war, but nothing else. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to end here.
Thank you very much, Honorable Johnson Kweku, for that brilliant intervention. I now recognize or give the floor to Honorable Maimuna Sise.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. I would like to join my colleagues to thank the two presenters who have dwelled on their sides of expertise and given us the summary of what they can serve us today. Honorable Speaker, I would like to start with the human rights. According to his presentation, he elaborated on so many prisoners languishing in the prison centers or the police stations with petty crimes that need serious considerations. Honorable Speaker, I think the human right, what you people need to advocate is to make sure that the governments start to be very innovative about the detention centers. The detention centers are not only to detain the criminals, but there should be a correction centers, innovation centers, for them to learn something after the prison term. When they left, they can not do the same thing, or they can benefit themselves out of that mess. When you go to West, when people are arrested, being a long term or short terms, they will always engage in something in prisons. After their prison terms, when they back to the society, they will be a better person. No human being should be at the prison just for 50,000 crime or 9,000 crime, while you have so many issues that the government need to be dealing with. We have so many lackings in our educational sectors, our health sectors. Those need to be improved. But that's not the case. You will have somebody whose crime is less than 10,000 and he will be languishing in jail, and the government has to take care of him because you have to feed him. You have to do any medical complication towards the person. The government is intervening and the government has to do so. While doing that, make sure that he do something in the parliament, in the prison. After leaving that prison, when he go back to the society, he will benefit himself and he will not put in the society at another risk again. Honorable Speaker, when you come to the gender-based violence, it has been in the lip service for quite a long. Women have been yearning for their rights and the privileges they need in the society. But still now there is a deterrence. Not all that we cannot do it, or we can do it. But still now, the system needs to be updated and it needs to be proactively also. And I will start with my fellow women. We need to have a stigma in ourselves. We can do it. And we cannot just only we can do it. Let's make sure that we advocate for our fellow women. Let them come up. Everything is possible in this world, but drastically it can happen when you are about to be a political, socio-economic.
I'm gonna continue for listening, okay? I record no more, let una know, yeah? I don't want for play a longer, let una know you get what's in the main detail, okay?